Now, in just a second, he's going to put a little puff of air to the end of the rod, trap that air in there with his thumb, and you're going to see a bubble shoot out to the center of this.
好，我们等一下马上可以看到它吹一口气，用拇指压住这口气呢，很快的往前窜出一个小的气泡来。
There it comes.
好，开始了。
All right, so now he's got a hollow bubble. He's going to cool this down a little bit, and he's going to go back in the furnace and gather again.
好，这时候呢，我们等它温度降下来之后呢，要取第二道的玻璃。
This tool is called the steam pad. It's a graphite textile. He can shape the glass with his bare hand using that tool.
好，刚才我们用的小的湿布呢，是石棉布，是它最接近玻璃的时候。
This is just a little compressed air. This is going to speed the process up by cooling it down faster.
我们现在想办法把它温度降下来，所以我们用的一个是压缩空气。
All right, so he's probably got about 10 to 12 seconds to go into the furnace, gather the amount of glass that he wants, and come out before the iron starts to get really hot.
我们刚刚知道一定要降到1000度，否则这玻璃马上被里面热空气或热气压扁，那它就没有办法再吹了。我们先取出2倍大的玻璃。
You can actually see where the iron is discolored or tarnished about a third of the way up. That's where it gets really hot. And you'll notice Dane always keeps his hand in the middle of the iron.
很多人在问这不锈钢钢管会不会太热？我们看到黑的地方呢，就是它温度非常高的地方，它不能碰。
And he's cooling the outside gather, that fresh gather down, while the inside core bubble starts to heat back up.
好，我们现在固定它之外，同时等待里面的气泡的温度从1000度回升到1800度。
And once he gets the temperatures even, he can slowly start to inflate it.
好，当它整个玻璃平均之后，它可以开始吹气。
So he's cooling and shaping, and now if you watch that bubble, you can see it slowly start to bulge right up.
好，我们现在看它开始吹气呢，只要轻轻吹就可以，就像吹气球一样。
Now he's not blowing very hard at all. When the glass is this hot and soft, it's actually easier than blowing up a balloon.
好，吹的时候虽然容易，但是要维持在中间非常困难。我们看他左手不停地转动。
Now we're going to need to remove it from the iron later on, so he just made a restriction called the jack line right off the end of the iron. Now, like I said, that's an important step because that's where we're going to break it free from the blowpipe.
好，我们用钢夹夹出环状形状呢是非常重要的，所有吹玻璃人都做到转换的工作，要从那里把它截断，所以它一定夹得恰到好处才行。
Now, as the glass gets too cold, he's going to go over to our reheating furnace on the other side of the stage and reheat the glass.
好，但随时要把它的玻璃呢放到另外一个炉子呢加温，否则玻璃到900度就会破掉。
Again, you can use that compressed air to cool down the jack line so it's not flopping around too much.
好，我们现在有2个地方是温度降下来，就是底座和刚才环状的地方。
Now you can actually see inside of our reheating furnace, we have a camera on the back. There's a special piece of glass in front of the camera lens. It's called fused silica, and that's what protects the camera from the heat.
好，我们可以很清楚看到荧幕上所有的制作过程呢，是因为后面有个摄影机，我们可以看到前面有个玻璃板挡住，可以耐4000度的高温。
They also used fused silica on the space shuttle's windows.
好，同时呢，在这个太空舱上的窗户呢，也是这种玻璃做成的。
And he's specifically heating just the bottom 2/3 of the bubble. When he comes out, he's going to start to elongate the bubble by swinging it or stretching it out.
好，它下一步呢，可能要利用地心引力来甩动，把它甩长。我们这个要稍微小心一点。
You can see as he holds it down, that bubble's starting to stretch out. He's going to use these wooden jacks to make a restriction, kind of separate this bubble into 2.
好，误会它了，它其实是要把它垂下来，利用地心引力拉长，同时呢，用个木夹子把它稍微拉出来一点点。
Now he likes to use these wooden tools rather than the steel ones because they don't cool the glass down as quickly as the metal. Every time you touch the glass with metal, it cools it down very fast.
我们现在用的是木夹子来操作这个玻璃，因为木夹子好处呢，不会刮伤玻璃，同时呢，使它的温度降得慢一点。
All right, now he's going to do the same thing. He's going to heat up that bottom section and really start to stretch it out.
好，这时候我们开始把火力集中在下半段，要把它真的拉长。
I'm going to give him a little bit of help with this wooden paddle. we're going to flatten the bottom of it up so it's got a nice flat bottom for the vase to stand on.
好，同时呢，George要帮助他把它底座压平，这样放在桌上才不会摇晃。
So as he leans his jacks over, I'll push up on the bottom.
好，看他用木夹子还有木板，同时把它压平，同时呢对称。
Now we're going to get ready to transfer, so I'm going to take a little bit of glass on this solid rod. This is called a punty iron. We're going to flip the piece around so he can work on the top of the vase.
这时候我们开始要做转换工作，要做它的口部，所以整个要转换到这个钢管上。
So I'm going to cool this down on the table. We're going to point it up quite a bit. When he attaches it to the bottom, it'll be a very small connection about the surface area of a dime.
就利用前面的钢板呢转成尖形的，所以呢只是暂时粘住，所以那个尖底呢只是一点点粘住就好了。
So he sticks it right in the center. He turns it to make sure it's in the middle. He's going to score the top of that where the jack line is. He's got a special file, a little bit of water on it.
这是相当重要，不能粘得太紧，又不能太松，锯轻轻一敲就开了。有的时候很容易掉在地上，要非常小心。
Tap and it comes right off.
好棒啊！是不是应该给他掌声鼓励一下？非常成功的转换过来。
Okay. All right, so Dane is going to turn this into a pitcher. He's going to flare the lip open, create a spout, and then we're going to add a handle.
好，现在敲开的地方呢，大概只有1000度，我们要回升到1800度呢，可能在集中火力在这个口部都要久一点。
Now he's got to make sure that he keeps the punty hot. If that gets too cold, it'll just pop off and hit the floor. So it's very important that he flashes it, which is just a quick heat to make sure it stays connected.
好，同时呢，我们要小心后面这个 punty 那个地方也要在900度以上，假如低于1000度呢，它就会破掉。
You can see he's all the way inside there heating up the punty, then he comes back and focuses most of the heat right on the front.
好，我们看它有的时候拿进去拿出来，主要是把整个玻璃都要在900度以上，那前面呢就是1800度。
You can see how soft the lip is. He can flare that right open.
Wow.
我们看前面非常的软，很快就撑开来了。
And again, you can see it cools down very quickly. It's blown pretty thin, so it loses its heat pretty fast.
好，现在玻璃呢越来越薄了，所以它的温度降得相当快。我们在半分钟和1分钟之内就要放回去加温。
Now this type of glass that we're using is called a soda lime glass. The three main ingredients are silica sand, soda ash, and limestone.
好，我们里面的它的成分是砂石、石灰石、碳酸钾呢。砂呢是一种特别的砂，是白色的硅石砂，占了70%。
Now, if Dane wanted to add color to this piece, he could have rolled it in crushed up colored glass called frit on the first gather.
假如我们要加有颜色的话，就会滚上预先压碎有颜色玻璃，然后变成有颜色的。
All right, we're going to get ready to add the handle. So I'm going to gather up some glass. He's just going to heat a place on the lid to make the spout.
好，今天等一下呢，想要加一个靶子在上面，我们要1个或2个，就会现在帮他取出一块玻璃，要帮他做一个手把。看起来这个等一下要做一个水罐的样子。
I'm going to cool it down on the table. We have a pair of tweezers over here I'm going to use to squeeze in the center. That's going to create like a strap.
好，我们现在要做一个手把，说 George 把他的这个玻璃呢做成长条，然后压抑到这种叫做罗马式的手把。
You want the strap facing you or me, Dave? All right.
好，我们要粘、拉、剪、粘。
So he sticks the handle right on there. He's gonna pull it up a little bit, crimp it, and stretch it a little farther. Cuts that right off.
哇哦！
下一步非常重要，只是一次性不能想。
He flips it over and he grabs it.
哇
Lets it
哦！
reattach to the front of that.
好，一定要对准了它的3点平口。
All right. So he uses those tweezers to cool the back of the handle.
最难做的一种就是手把。
Now he's going to flash it, make sure the temperature is just right.
好，整个玻璃都要在900度以上，所以我们整个玻璃进去，全部烧到900度以上就可以完成了。
So the last thing we need to do is remove it from the iron. He's going to make sure the handle is just the way he wants it. He'll add a little bit of water to the punty where we attached it. That's going to create some stress cracks, and with a slight little tap, the vibration is going to break it off onto these forks.
好，我们确认他喜欢之后呢，加点水，轻轻一敲就下来。这时候我们就看他刚才所谓不能粘得太紧，就在这里。我们看，
And just like that, it pops right off.
哇哦！
成功的敲下来了。
Now it's not really finished until we slowly cool it down overnight. It takes about 12 hours to cool a piece this size down. If we set it on the table, it would crack within just a few minutes from the stress inside of it.
好，这时候温度还相当高，我们看到底有多高？
You can see that piece of paper. It doesn't take long to catch on fire. It's still about 1,000 degrees. Now, unfortunately, we can't save everything that we make throughout the day. We do a lot of shows up here, and we have a very small oven. So Dane decided we were going to recycle this right from the beginning. He made it all out of clear glass. We're going to toss it in this bucket of water. It'll break up into tiny pieces called cullet. And at the end of the day, we're going to shovel it back in the furnace.
好，平常我们要保留这个玻璃，必须放在中间的降温炉，慢慢降温10个小时之后呢，把压力、张力都放开来，才能取出来。现在放在外面，1分钟之内就会破成碎片。他们2个打算丢掉，明天再收回来，不会浪费。